Now, when we come to the design we are referring to, we have some image in the background, like someone running with speed. So let's go and add that one to our background. When you search through the resources we have, you're going to see that image as well. So this is the image of the person running. It is below the crossover. So make sure your layer is arranged below it. Then we can bring it, get into the end of the design. If it is too big, you just have to resize it to make it smaller. Now we want to keep the object in motion as if it is moving. So we are going to have a blur effect we call the motion blur. So you right click on it. You right click on it to rasterize. Then you go to blur. This time you're not going to use the Gaussian blur. So you go to blur. Then you check for motion blur. The motion blur effect is going to keep the object in motion as if it is moving. So you just have to move the slider to your taste. When you're done, you click on OK. Then you position it at an angle you want it to be. We want to add a little shadow to the 2023 so that the white will pop. The same principle we used in adding the shadow to this. You go to the FX, that's the blending options. Then you choose drop shadow. So you come and use the sliders to set your shadow to your taste. When you are done, you just have to click on OK. Now we are going to add this paper. It's called a ripple paper. You search through the design resources and you see it. So let's drag it on top so that it will be on top of the layers. Then you go to this place where we have the normal. That's the blending options. You click on that place. Then you choose color bend. You see it has added a little bit effect to it. You just have to increase the size of it to cover the whole design. Now in my design tool, I have a picture here. You can decide to use a picture or you can ignore the picture. If you want to add a picture, either the same picture or your picture or any other picture, you just have to bring it into Photoshop. Then make sure that your picture layer is on top so that you see it. Now this picture has already been worked on. You can see that we have even blurred it already. Now if your picture is not blurred and you want to blur it to fix into the background, use the same idea we use when we are blurring the background. So use the same principle. Then we want to turn the picture to the right side. So you go to edit, then transform. You flip horizontally to transform it. So that's it. We also have this icon here, this love icon. So let's go and search for it in our resources. So there's the love icon. So you click on it. Then you just have to resize it. You bring it at the edge here. So make sure the layer is on top. It's on top of the picture. We want to apply an effect on it. So you right click on it. Then you go to rasterize. We want to keep that one too in motion. We want to assume that it is in motion. So you go to the filter, then blur. We are not using the Gaussian blur, but this time we are using the motion blur. So you click on the motion blur. Then you increase the slider to your preference. So for it to be in motion, click on OK when you are done. Now the color doesn't really suit the background. So let's change the color. You go to image and then adjustment. Then you choose the hue and saturation. Let's increase the hue slider. You want the background to match with that icon. So we just want to get that either red or yellow icon. So we want to get a yellow icon. You can increase the saturation as well. Then you move the slider. You see it will be changing colors. So any color at all you want to use, you can use it. So let's choose a radius of, I think 40 will be okay for us to get that yellow color. Then you click on OK. So you can bring the picture on top of that. You can bring the picture on top of that layer. Then you just have to resize it. So as you are designing, then you'll be referencing the one I did. It is also part of the resources. You'll be referencing it. Then you see how that one was created. Now we are almost done. The rest is for you to write your church name. You bring your church logo. You add your date, your day. So you check the other one. Then you know how the things will arrange on it. So the last item we are going to do is we have a particular icon on top here. That's the clock or the watch icon. So there's the watch icon. You move it on top here. Then you resize it. It was also part of the element in the background. It is not that visible. You can see. but it was part of the element in the background. So we are going to also blur that one in the background. It shouldn't be too hard in the background. So you right click on it, then you rasterize. Anytime you want to apply an effect, you have to rasterize. You go to filter blur. This time we are not using the motion blur, we are using the Gaussian blur. So I think 18 is okay for it to be a little bit visible. Then you have to brush. You see the edges are too hard, so you have to brush off the edges. You use the eraser tool. Then as you have been brushing, if your caps lock is on, your eraser tool will turn into a plus. So make sure you turn it off. Then you increase your brush size. Then you brush off the edges to make it smooth and transition into the background. So that is it. Now I'm not going to do the rest. Almost everything is done. So the rest is just about you to type your church name and the date and the rest. All the resources are in. We forgot to add one. Then there was a light. When you check the previous design, you can see there is a light passing through the cross and the over beneath the service. So let's go and add that light. So you click on the crossover layer. Then now this particular layer, the layer that we added, if you are not going to use it, just have to lock it. Else it is going to disturb you because it is covering the whole design. So when you click on any part of design, that's the same layer that will be selected. So you just lock it. You click on it, then use the lock key we have here to lock it. Now you click on the crossover. You can see it has been selected. Now you set through the resources, then you see this light, this particular light. That's what you are going to use. So you click on that layer, then you change the blend mode. This particular area is called blend mode. We use a blend mode called screen. The screen takes off the background. You can see the background is gone. So we choose screen for it to be left with the light. Now you drag it to where we have the crossover text. So you put it on top of the crossover. Then you position it. You can increase the size. And then you position it between the cross and the over. We just want to create that effect. Then this particular light, the one we added beneath the dove, let's duplicate it. Right click on the light, then you go to duplicate layer. So it has given you a second copy. Now you drag one. It has duplicated at the same place. So you select one, then drag it beneath the crossover. You want to have that reflection of light beneath the crossover. You can increase or decrease the size of the light depending on how nice it will look to your eyes. So those were the other two things we didn't add. So we have added it. Now when you are done with everything, typing in your text and the rest, you create a visible stamp layer, like a picture of everything you have done. So Control Shift Alt E on the keyboard. The reason why we did that was we are going to use a Photoshop filter called Camera Raw to check our design. So when you create that visible stamp layer, you are going to get a picture of everything you have done. You go to filter, then you choose Camera Raw filter. Now when Camera Raw opens, you see how our design is looking in Camera Raw. So you click on this particular layer here to duplicate it or to check the before and the after. So this place will be before and this place will be after. Now, when you go to the profile we have here, the basic profile, let's bring down the highlights, meaning there are two highlights in our design. Let's bring down the highlights a little bit. You can see the moment we brought down the highlight, everything is looking okay as compared to before. Then let's also bring down the whites a little bit. And then we can increase the exposure a little bit. Now when Photoshop opens, if this is your first time you are using the Camera Raw, make sure you check this particular layer. So you come and click on this highlight icon. The highlight icon is going to make you to see where you have excess light in your design. So make sure you check the highlight layer, this one rather, the highlight. When you click on that one, it will help you to know where you have more light in your design, which you have to bring them down. So you just have to do that. Then you can do some few settings here, not something too much, some few settings there. When you are done, you just click on OK. And you can see when it came from camera raw, it is looking a little bit different. So when you close this eye, then you click on the eye again, you check the before and the after. So that's it. Now this particular dot effect we have, it is looking too hard. Let us reduce the opacity a little bit. So you search for that particular layer. That's why it is important to name your layers so that you know which one you're working with. I think this one. Yes. So let us reduce the opacity. So I think 45 will be okay. When the moment you make any changes, you just have to come and create another visible stamp layer, and then you pass it through the camera raw, then you bring it back again. So when you are done, assuming you are done with everything, you have finished typing your church name and the other informations, you are going to save it. So you go to File, then you go to Export, you go to Export As. When the Export As window opens, you change the size. The size is 1x. So you change the size from 1x to, you change it to 0.33x. The 1x will make your file size a little bit bigger. After all, we are not going to print it, just for social media. So you change it to 0.33x. You click on that one. Then you change the format from PNG to JPEG. You can maintain it at PNG, but let's use JPEG. You can also increase the quality. You can click the quality and you check from good to great. You can maintain the rest of the settings here, but let's scroll down. So you bring the slider down. Then make sure you take embedded color profile. So the color profile we use should be the same thing when your design is being transferred from your computer to a different device. So when you are done with this, you just have to click on export. You just have to click on export. Then it will open your computer for you to choose a location where you want to export to. Now the suffix we have here, you can clean it. So the suffix, you can clean it and write your name. You can even write your name there. So when it saves with whatever we have there. Then you are done with that. Now let's cancel it. There's one thing we didn't do. Now our first lesson, we learned how to create shapes. Let's see how you're going to create that shape. So you click on the rectangle tool. Then you select your rectangle. You are creating a rectangle shape. When you check the reference design you are using, it has some shapes. The moment you draw your rectangle, your property window opens. Now we are going to edit the edges. So these are the four corners of the rectangle. So these are the edges. Now we want to curve the edge of the rectangle. So we want to control only this part of the rectangle. So let's click on it and see the effect. You drag to increase the numbers. Then you come to this side of the rectangle. We will bring that one tool in. We drag, or you can type in the numbers. So let's click on any other place in the shape. You can see that we've created this corner here and that corner there. So when your corner is either too deep or it's not that deep for you, you can just go back and work on it. So this place should go a little bit inside. So you just have to increase the numbers. Then you go and click any other place and see how the shape is looking like. So when you check the design, I created those two shapes. That's where I typed the date and the time and the venue. So you check that one and you do it as well. If you follow from lesson 1 to this particular place, you will be able to create this one with ease. When you are going to type in your church name and the rest, when you finish, you save your work. And I'll be glad if you send me your work, a copy of your work in the group so that we will know what you're going to do. If you don't want to use a picture, you can just take up the picture. Or if you want to use a picture too, you can bring in the picture. So this is just to give you an idea of how you create a simple flyer with background and some designs and shape as well. Thank you very much.